All right, it is 12:55 p.m. Everyone is back from lunch recess. We'll be back in session at this point. And it was brought to my attention by Jesse Kearns that there are two witnesses who are not here, and we voted, I believe, at the last meeting not to, to release them from the subpoenas, I think. One was Kyle Osmitz, who does not work for the city. He had something to do, according to the mayor's sworn statement, something to do with the wrap on the box. And the other is Ashley Klein, who works at the city clerk's office. We have some written material from Ashley Klein if anybody on the board feels it would be necessary for us to mark that as an exhibit. But it didn't look to me at any point like there was that much there that their inability to come and testify would be important for our work. Ashley Klein, we heard from her attorneys at Law Forward. She's out of the state, is my understanding. And I believe Kyle Osmitz also somebody indicated on his behalf he's not represented.
It wasn't Law Forward, it was Sam Hall.
Oh, I'm sorry, Sam Hall. But Law Forward, I think, yeah, that's right. Sam Hall responded on behalf of Ashley Klein, and Kyle Osmitz, who's not represented, is out of state as well. So I suggest we just proceed with the remaining witnesses, those who have not yet testified. Any objection from the board members on that?
No objection.
All right. Then next on my list of witnesses would be the city clerk, Caitlin Bernardi. Called.
Chairman, before Ms. Bernardi testifies, I just want to make a record and make a request. Ms. Bernardi and City Attorney Ann Jacobson, as you know, were both subpoenaed for deposition in this matter. There were a number of meetings, and eventually those depositions did occur on Monday, October 6th. There was a document production as required by the subpoenas made sometime late Friday. And on Monday, I learned that there were documents withheld from the subpoena on privilege grounds, but no privilege log was provided with the production as required by the subpoenas, nor was a privilege log available at the time of the depositions. I had noted this with Mr. Hall on Monday during the depositions, for which he was present. He acknowledged that it wasn't ready yet, but agreed to provide it. I did not receive it, and so yesterday afternoon, I followed up with Attorney Hall, I believe with a copy to Attorney Larson saying, am I going to get the privilege log that was required by the subpoena? And I got it by email at 5:27 p.m. last night. I would like to make that privilege log a part of the record and marked as an exhibit, as I may have questions of these witnesses about it.
Would you like to do that at this time?
Yes, please. Would this be Exhibit 6?
Yes.
All right, I believe we're ready to proceed with Ms. Bernardi's testimony. And you need to be sworn here by Mr. Kearns. Ms. Bernardi, I am largely uninformed about restrictions on testifying that any investigative authorities may have urged you to follow, so please bear with me if I ask questions that you feel you cannot answer. I see you have counsel with you today, so I'm sure he can assist you in keeping me in the proper bounds if there are restrictions. So I ask you also to please listen to each question and take your time in answering. So,
Okay.
throw you a softball. Name and occupation.
Caitlin Bernardi, City Clerk for the City of Wausau.
And are you an elected clerk or an unelected clerk?
I'm an appointed clerk.
Appointed clerk. How long have you been serving as clerk?
It'll be 4 years next month.
And how did you said you were appointed. How did you obtain that position? I mean, who appointed you? When was that done?
I applied for the position in the summer of 2021. I went through 3 or 4 rounds of interviews over the phone, in person, at City Hall with my direct supervisor, the finance director, a member of the HR staff, as well as one round included the former mayor.
Okay. Could you please describe your previous professional history, jobs, professional recognitions, things like that?
Yes, I have a bachelor's degree in political science from the University of Wisconsin-Madison. Prior to working here for the City of Wausau, I was the 4-H program educator for the University of Wisconsin-Madison Division of Extension, Marathon County. It's the official division as it evolved to, where I oversaw the 30 4-H programs for Marathon County, trained volunteers, as well as working with the county board for kind of the direction of the programming. I was a state employee at that time. And then prior to that, I was the fair administrator for the Wisconsin Valley Fair. And there I administered the 6-day event annually and worked with the board, creating agendas, minutes, packets, as well as facilitating the event and the little mini events inside of that event. So based on those experiences, I felt that I had the qualifications to do the clerk's job, which included working with the board and doing those agendas, minutes, duties, as well as my experience training volunteers would allow me to hire, recruit, and train poll workers, which I do regularly, which allowed me to apply for the job. And then I am a member of the Wisconsin Municipal Clerks Association. I serve on a couple of committees for that organization, and then I recently was recognized as a rising star in the organization for my contributions to it.
Thank you. You don't have a law degree, do you?
I do not.
And your basic responsibilities as city clerk, I take it that election administration is a part of that?
Yes, it's a significant part of my job, especially in even-numbered years where we have 4 elections.
So you are an election official, correct?
Correct.
And you've had to become, well, let me back up. How many elections have you been responsible for administering as Wausau City Clerk?
I have now been the election official for a full election cycle, so that would be 12 elections. And in order to be an election official for the city, I should add that I am required to complete ongoing training by the Wisconsin Elections Commission, or training that's approved by them to be certified to administer elections.
And where does that requirement come from?
I believe that requirement is in statute to have so many, I think it's so many hours every other year.
Is there another body of law that might address that you can think of?
I'm sorry, I don't understand the question.
Well, besides state statutes, I believe there are state administrative code provisions, regulations.
Potentially there are like state administrative rules that oversee that.
Okay. Can you tell us where in the state statutes the election administration laws are found? I mean, what chapters? Do you know that off the top of your head?
I know that there are multiple state chapters that oversee the election duties, whether it's the actual election scheduling and process, voters, and then election prohibitions. My typical process is to refer to the election administration manual or election day manual, as well as other WEC guidance, which usually lays out which statute that guidance comes from. So I don't know them off the top of my head.
Okay. Would you say they're fairly extensive?
Yes.
There are a lot of laws on
Correct.
elections. Huh? Can you tell us, when it comes to Wisconsin Administrative Code provisions, which state agency is likely to be the agency that promulgated those regulations?
The Wisconsin Elections Commission. There are some that the Wisconsin Ethics Commission oversees.
I see. And you've already covered the subject of your training, but I'll ask, that training that you described that's put on by the Wisconsin Elections Commission, there are requirements for you to attend that. Are there any requirements for mayors to attend and participate in that training?
I do not believe so.
Okay. Could you give me some description on the training content?
Yes, so the Wisconsin Elections Commission, as well as the University of Wisconsin Green Bay, they have a Municipal Clerks and Treasurers Institute as well, that I should add that they offer annually for municipal clerks and treasurers to get certified, or to help them get certified in their positions. And some of those classes count towards the WEC, or Wisconsin Elections Commission, qualifications. And so those classes vary from in-person over like webinars to in-person conferences and seminars and tabletop exercises as well. So I'd say that the training that's approved varies from how to properly train poll workers for different election day or election tasks, from helping voters in residential care facilities vote to actually at the poll site to election registration, the voter registration of eligible electors, I should say. Other training goes on to election day emergency planning, such as, okay, if scenario X happens, how would you handle it, how to prepare and train your poll workers to handle it, who would you contact, and whatnot. It also, some of it goes into, specific, the fine laws of like absentee ballots, and when we, the specific rules on when we're required to send ballots to voters overseas or in the military, if they're temporarily overseas or permanently overseas, and those different requirements of me and requirements of the voter and how they can apply that. So there are lots of like finite rules in election administration, but there is also a lot of discretion that is left up to clerks, and so we do have a pretty good network to kind of bounce off how different municipalities are handling different election situations. So that kind of sits into all of those different election trainings.
That training that you've described for us, and I thank you for that, how long does the training take?
They vary from, they regularly have hour-long webinars over Zoom to a couple weeks ago we had a two-day full-day conference. So it depends on kind of what the requirements are currently for the election demand, if we have an election coming up, or if we have more time to kind of plan and reevaluate for the upcoming election cycle.
When was the first training that you took?
The first day I started, there was a UW Green Bay gubernatorial election academy where it was preparing clerks for the election that was going to be in November of 2022.
Okay.
So that was a 2 or 3 day training that I was new, but I was locked in my office for a couple days as I was taking part of that training.
And does is it training a one-time thing? I mean, you mentioned that there are some, like continuing election official education, but do you have to get, you get certified when you go through the training the first time? Is that accurate?
Yes, there is a specific training course. I want to say it's like 13 hours to actually get access to the statewide voter database. So that covers, how we properly track voter registration, absentee ballots, deactivating a voter, unique situations such as when voters are adjudicated incompetent or they are now a felon and ineligible to vote, to managing poll site locations and how that appears on the public-facing myvote.wi.gov, where voters can then track all their voter status and where they would vote, what would be on their ballot, and who their elected officials are, to also managing the addresses that are in the city of Wausau. The redistricting after the 2020 census was done right before I started, but there were, we did have statewide redistricting, and so we had to make sure that the software is assigning addresses to districts, that is accurate and that people are not misallocated. And so that's in there as well as I administer our local elections. So when we have candidates like our alders, our mayor, and our judge, when they are, those seats are up for election, our office also, I am responsible for preparing the packet materials for the public, and then once people submit their materials, their declaration of candidacy, their campaign finance report establishing their campaign finance committee, which is required, as well as those nomination papers, making sure that that information is complete and accurate and acceptable to be eligible to be placed on the ballot. So once that paper process is completed, entering that information into WisVote and making sure that that's accurate, and then that gets updated if you have a primary and then an election. So it was an extensive training on all of how to just manage WisVote alone, as well as the security piece of that to ensure that our office is following proper procedure to keep that information accurate and secure. So we have to complete that in order to be to have access to that website and that database, and then we are required to complete hours additional. I don't remember off the top of my head how many hours we're required to complete annually, but then I believe the Wisconsin Elections Commission publishes a report at least quarterly, if not monthly, on how many hours each municipal clerk has, how many hours of training the municipal clerk has completed, because you do need ongoing education in order to be certified to lead an election.
Okay. So I just want to make sure I understand this. I mean, there sounds like an awful lot to it, but I want to make sure I understand the basic idea correctly. So I'll tell you what my understanding is from what you've been talking about, and you have, if I got it wrong, please correct me. It seems like there's basic training. So like you just get into the military and you go to basic training, boot camp, whatever. And then after that, there is, like I said before, continuing election official training where there will be topics and a certain number of hours have to be logged each year or each biennium. Is that the basic scheme of things? Have I got it right?
Yes, yes.
Okay, thank you. That helps. And of course, you get publications from the Wisconsin Election Commission on topics of interest, I assume?
Correct. They have a clerk communications tab on their website that they update regularly. Typically, they also email those out to clerks, and then they have a monthly newsletter that they provide guidance in as well.
Do you know, is any of that information sent to mayors?
I do not believe so.
Okay. Are you aware of any training or certification provided to mayors by the Wisconsin Elections Commission?
I do not believe so.
To your knowledge, do these regulations or laws contain a definition of municipal election worker?
I believe it does.
Do you know if it includes mayors?
I don't believe it specifically says the word mayor.
Do you know if it makes any distinction between elected and non-elected clerks?
In just the state statute,
Well, yeah,
Or-
statutes or administrative code.
I don't believe so.
Okay. Do you know of anything, or are you aware of anything in either the Wisconsin statutes or the Wisconsin Administrative Code that expressly gives a mayor the authority to overrule or alter a municipal clerk's decisions in the administration of elections?
No.
Okay. Are you aware of any state statutes that expressly give the mayor authority or responsibility for administering elections?
No.
Okay. Did you ever designate the respondent, Mayor Doug Denny, as your authorized representative to take any action relating to the administration of the 2024 general election?
No.
Can you tell us, well, we've heard it a lot, but can you tell us, with the descriptions that we've heard so far, what an absentee ballot drop box is? You know, if they've been reporting pretty much what we need to know, great, just tell us that. If not, add to it if you can.
My understanding of a drop box is a location where eligible voters can lawfully return their absentee ballot outside of the municipal clerk's office, because the state statute says that it has to be returned to the clerk, and under that Priorities USA decision, it allowed for eligible absentee voters to return their own ballot in an absentee ballot drop box by mail or in the clerk's office.
So when you say they have to be returned to the clerk, is this essentially a method for the clerk to collect absentee ballots, a way to facilitate your collection of the absentee ballots?
Yes.
Mr. Chairman,
Yes.
I'm going to object to the leading nature of some of these questions. If you can ask more open-ended questions in the spirit of investigation, as opposed to stating principles and ask her to agree with you.
Well, yeah, I'll take that in mind. But these are things that seem to be within the expertise of this witness.
Then let her answer open-ended questions. You do not need to lead her or ask her for legal conclusions.
Well, I'll do my best here. Let's see. Are you aware whether previous to the 2024 elections, the August and November general election, were absentee ballot drop boxes ever used in elections conducted in Wausau?
Yes. So the clerk previous to me, during the COVID pandemic, there were some grant funds available. She had procured an absentee ballot drop box to be used in the city of Wausau. And part of my understanding of that decision is that we previously had a small silver box that was labeled for payments that they were utilizing as an absentee ballot drop box for eligible voters to return their ballots in. The problem with that box is that it was so small that if you would get an absentee ballots, the absentee ballot certificate envelopes are for sure as long as a sheet of paper, and they're wider than your standard, like the number 9 or number 10 envelope. When you would put them in the slot, if you would get like 2 or 3 absentee ballots in there, it would be like full, where any other voters could not put their absentee ballot in there. So that box was secured, and it was put, or they purchased it and deployed it in front of City Hall on the grass just past the ramp up to the front of City Hall. They had put it on some sort of concrete pad that was just like sitting in the grass just off of the sidewalk. And that box had been in use without any issue until I believe it was between the April 2022 election and the August 2022 election when the Wisconsin Supreme Court ruled that those any drop boxes could not be used. And so we closed the box at that time. So it was used before. I directly oversaw, I believe it was 2 elections where we utilized that absentee ballot drop box in front of City Hall.
Can you be a little more precise about what time period absentee ballot drop boxes were not allowed?
I believe the Teagan decision came down in the summer of 2022 before the August 2022 partisan primary election, and then you could not use them until the August 2024 partisan primary election, is my recollection.
Thank you. I'd like to ask you about interactions with the respondent, Mayor Denny. Maybe we should get Attorney Hall's, are there particular restrictions you want us to observe? Okay. Right. Did you ever meet with the respondent, Mayor Denny, to discuss the use of absentee ballot drop boxes?
I did.
Okay. And for what election?
It was before the August 13, 2024 partisan primary election.
Could we show the witness exhibit 1? I would direct your attention to paragraph 2. Can you read that and tell the board if this account is accurate based on your recollection?
I do remember this meeting, and I remember having the conversation, and this meeting was a result of, I had, the priorities decision came down on, I believe it was July 5th, and at that point, I had intended to redeploy the Dropbox like we had done up until 2022. And so I had a call from, I believe it was the Wausau Daily Herald, about doing an interview for the Dropbox, which I did do the interview with them, informing them that it was my intention to redeploy the Dropbox by August 1st. I was working with DPW to get the locks changed, because since it hadn't been used in 2 years, the one lock was like corroded shut. It was sitting out in front of City Hall, right off of the sidewalk with the salt and everything that got pushed up on it in the winter. And so I've been working with DPW, or Department of Public Works staff, to get that replaced so it could go. So the Wausau Daily Herald published their story, I believe it was on July 17th, and then the mayor came down to my office, he was clearly, visibly upset by that article, because he did not want me to deploy a Dropbox. And then that prompted this meeting. It was either on July 18th or July 19th. And we had probably about an hour-long conversation discussing various things, and the Dropbox came up. During that meeting, I laid out my reasons for why and I still do, feel that absentee ballot Dropboxes are a safe and secure way for people to return their absentee ballots, especially in that critical week before an election, where the U.S. Postal Service does not recommend people mail them or return them by the mail. And in that meeting, he did say that, he brought up his opinions and concerns about it, and suggested having a 24/7 live stream of the camera out front. And I believe it was after that meeting, then I had a conversation with Jerry Klein or Gerard Klein about, that we didn't think that that was a good idea because we don't, like if someone just watches a 5-minute clip over, 20 minutes, it could appear to be something nefarious. And so it could create additional concern and potential problems if we had that live stream. But we, due to the fact that we are required to, our clerks are required to mail out absentee ballots 47 days before an election where there's a federal contest on the ballot. So by the time that Priorities USA decision came down on July 5th, we had already had absentee ballots out in the mail, emailed out to people overseas with their instructions on how to lawfully return their absentee ballot. And so there was a timing concern that, that information, if we change it midstream after those ballots have been sent out, that could cause some voter confusion. Unfortunately, we are used to that in Wisconsin with the election laws changing regularly in the middle of elections that clerks and voters have to manage when they make their decisions on how to cast a ballot. And between the timing situation as well as the issue with getting that lock replaced on the ballot box, we did agree to not utilize, that I would not utilize an absentee ballot for the August partisan primary.
So backing up a little bit, was the mayor's statement that the meeting was July, 18th or 19th? Does that sound accurate to you?
Yes, that sounds accurate.
And who requested the meeting?
I believe the mayor requested it.
Okay. And is there anything that is missing from the mayor's description of that meeting? Did you talk about anything else?
I recall that was really our first one-on-one meeting since he was elected mayor, and so there was some just kind of get to know each other questions before we got into the conversation about the Dropbox. But I do not recall that we had an agreement about how the November election would be handled.
Okay, so first of all, this was not a regularly scheduled meeting. This was a meeting scheduled for this particular purpose.
Right, we do not have regularly scheduled meetings.
Okay. And it seems like what you're describing is that the mayor was expressing his opinion to you on the use of absentee ballot drop boxes and what would be required if you did use it. Would that sound accurate to you?
Objection leading. It's not an investigative question. You're asking, it sounds to me like you're putting words in her mouth and asking her to agree with you. That's not an investigative question, Mr. Chairman. It's not an appropriate question. And frankly, when you hand the mayor's statement to a witness and then ask them if they agree or don't agree with the mayor's recollections as reflected in his statement, that's not eliciting testimony. If you want to ask her about events and meetings and what her recollections are, that's fine. That's appropriate investigative questioning. But handing her the mayor's statement, which reflects his recollections, and inviting her to agree or disagree is vouching testimony, and it's inviting mischief in the record. So please, if we can just ask about events, her recollections, if you want to try to refresh her recollection with an exhibit, if she doesn't have one, that's fine. But please,
It might. We'll see. Can you tell me, was anyone else present at this meeting?
At that meeting, no.
Okay. Did the mayor offer his opinions to you about what he felt should be done with the absentee ballot drop box?
Yes. I would say, let me correct, I would say he offered his opinion on the use of drop boxes in general.
General, okay. how about for the August election? Did he offer an opinion on that?
Yes, just in general, that he did not want, it was his opinion that he did not like drop boxes and he did not want it used.
Okay. And from your testimony so far, you've indicated you're aware of the Wisconsin Supreme Court's decision in the Priorities USA case. Is that right?
I'm sorry, can you repeat the question?
Sure. Are you, it appears from your testimony so far that you are aware of the Wisconsin Supreme Court's decision in the Priorities USA versus Wisconsin Elections Commission case. Is that accurate?
Yes.
When did you first become aware of it?
I believe the Wisconsin Elections Commission sent out a clerk communication with the decision on Friday, July 5th, the day that the decision came down, and then provided later, or they provided additional information the following week.
Okay. Was that case discussed in your meeting with Mayor Denny in mid-July of 2024?
I don't recall if the case specifically was mentioned or just we were both aware that drop boxes could be utilized now and had discussion about them.
I'd like that to be an exhibit. Maybe I gave you two. I'll take one. Or no, you can, yeah, you'll need it. Cody, could you distribute those, please?
Exhibit 7.
I'm showing you what's been marked Exhibit 7. And can you, oh, sure. Thank you. Got an extra? Can you tell me what this document is, what Exhibit 7 is?
This is the city attorney's legal opinion, numbered 24-5, dated September 26, 2024.
And have you seen this before?
Yes.
I would ask you to turn to the if I can get to it here. Turn to the third page of this document. Tell me what you see there.
The litigation update, Priorities USA versus WEC.
Yes.
Okay.
Is this the guidance, or is this what you recall getting from the Wisconsin Elections Commission at that time?
Yes, so this was not their initial communication, I recall, but this came out that following week.
I see. Okay. And did you receive any other training or guidance about performing your responsibilities other than this litigation update and the earlier public notice that you described?
Specifically on the use of drop boxes?
Yeah.
I don't believe so. I recall that we had our annual municipal clerks conference in August, and I don't recall, but it was a topic amongst clerks at that conference.
Okay, thank you. In that meeting you had with the mayor that we were talking about in mid-July, was there any discussion of this litigation update?
I don't recall.
Okay. Okay. Are you aware of whether the Common Council has any authority relating to the administration of elections?
Objection calls for a legal conclusion. You can ask her what her understanding is. I suppose.
Well-
I think the question was, are you aware?
Yeah, and I think she's testified that this is all within what she's required to do as an election official. So are you aware of any state law that permits clerks to consider the opinions of mayors or common councils? Let me back up one. Are you aware of whether there are any laws that expressly give a city's common council any authority or responsibility for the administration of elections?
There are certain specific election administration actions that do need council approval, such as if we are going to move a poll site, that has to get approved by the governing body. As well as we do put it in our ordinance for when we redistrict what the official wards and aldermanic districts will be for the city. So things like that do get approved by the Common Council, but individual, how I'm going to choose to supply a poll site or the voting hours I choose to hold absentee voting and things like that do not need to get council or mayoral approval.
And yeah, nothing on whether the Common Council, to your knowledge, does the Common Council under any state law that you're aware of contain any authority or responsibility for the Common Council to make any decisions relating to absentee ballot drop boxes?
Sorry, can you repeat the question?
Yeah, based on your knowledge of the law, does the law of elections and election administration, is there anything that in those laws that give the Common Council any authority or responsibility for absentee ballot drop boxes? So they,
No.
okay. But does the law relating to administration of elections permit clerks to consider the opinions of mayors or common councils or any other persons making decisions about absentee ballot drop boxes?
Yes, I do think it permits us. And so I did have conversations with the mayor, most of the alderpersons for the city of Wausau, as well as neighboring clerks and clerks from around the state to kind of gauge their how other clerks were going to be deploying drop boxes. And for our elected officials for the city, I wanted to kind of gauge if they were hearing things from their constituents or not, and included that in my decision-making to deploy the drop box.
And, but to your knowledge of election law, again, who ultimately makes the decision about whether to use an absentee ballot drop box?
The municipal clerk of the municipality.
I want to be clear also, was there some agreement you reached with the mayor during that July meeting we were talking about?
We agreed that I would not deploy a drop box for the August election due to the timing factors and the current state of the lock, one of the two locks on the drop box itself.
But there was no agreement? Is that the only agreement you reached with?
That is what I recall. There was the one agreement, and we did not make any agreements for November.
How about going to the Common Council? Was there any
No, I do not
agreement for
recall an
that?
agreement about taking it to Common Council.
And do you recall having a meeting, did you decide to deploy an absentee ballot drop box at some point?
Yes, I did.
When did you make that decision?
Internally in our office, I had made that decision in early September. I had I'd wanted to deploy the Dropbox already, right after that, the priorities decision came down in July, since we had used it successfully without any issues prior to that. Then after, I had made that statement publicly about wanting to deploy it, and then having the internal conversations with the mayor and that agreement to not use it for August. I really didn't want to do that about face again for the November election. So we had internal talks about how we would deploy this for November, ensuring that, that lock was fixed so our staff could retrieve the ballot securely out of the box, as well as how our internal processes would be to ensure, that the box is emptied regularly, securely, how we were going to record that, and then be transparent with how many people had returned their ballots through the Dropbox. And so we had had internal conversations in our office about that while seeking input from fellow clerks around the state on how their processes were going to be in their offices.
After you made that decision, did you communicate that to the mayor?
I did. I had been working with two DPW staff members who they regularly assist me in setting up and taking down poll sites. They're assigned to me for each election, and so I myself and my team in our clerk's office, we prepare all the supplies for each poll site and we get it ready. They deliver them to the poll sites. They help on election day, keeping everything running smoothly, and then pick that up. So those, there are two of those DPW staff that then I work with outside of the election, and I did communicate with them about getting that Dropbox back out in front of City Hall. I'm sorry, what was your original question?
I'm wondering, did you communicate
Oh,
your
yes.
decision
Yes.
to the mayor?
And so we had, I believe that the Thursday, September 19th, I recall that was the day that we had to get absentee ballots out 47 days before the November election. And so I had been working with those staff members to get the Dropbox out in front of City Hall for that. And I wanted to, I had had numerous conversations with the mayor about utilizing a Dropbox. I knew where he was, where his opinions were on the use of it. My education, my other conversations, I still felt that it was the best decision to deploy the Dropbox. But as a courtesy, I knew that he would not be happy if he just saw the box out front without me notifying him. So the morning that the Dropbox was going to be deployed, I tried to schedule a meeting with him on his calendar. He didn't accept it, so I went up because he was busy. It was a last-minute calendar request. And I had went upstairs them to meet with him. I believe he was on another call, but he still met with me, and I informed him that I was deploying a Dropbox. There was an insert that was already out in the mail with the absentee ballots saying that they could return their ballot in the absentee ballot, in the payment Dropbox, and that decision was made. And then when I came back downstairs, I believe the Dropbox was already out in front of City Hall.
Do you still have Exhibit 1 with you?
Yes.
I would call your attention to paragraph 4 of the sworn statement of Mayor Doug Dinny and ask you to read that over.
Okay.
All right. Any disagreement with anything in that paragraph?
I do not recall the mayor expressing concern about the optics of having a public dispute between the clerk and the mayor, as well as, he goes on to, I'll just say that I don't recall this statement. He states, "I then expressed my concern about the optics of having a public dispute between the clerk and the mayor, as well as my concerns about lighting, security, proper markings, a new camera on the front door of City Hall, and the possibility of installing a live feed camera." I don't recall that statement. And that perhaps the conversation about the live feed was at the September 19th meeting and not the July 18th, 19th. It occurred in his office. I'm not sure at which meeting. And then the complaints, or the comment, adding to my surprise, the clerk had just published newsletter content concerning the November election, which included polling places, dates, and times for early in-person voting, extended hours at City Hall, but never mentioned a drop box. The newsletter was at the printer when the clerk came to see me on September 19th. And I intentionally did not put anything about how to return your absentee ballot in that newsletter. I recall we had to have that to the mayor's office to be printed by September 6th. And again, I didn't want to do that about face like I did in August, where I'm going to deploy the box and then somehow something in City Hall would prevent that box from being put out. And again, that's another mismessage to voters, creates voter confusion, and then creates distrust in the process.
Okay. But there is a statement in there attributed to you that you said to him, Ann said it would be a bad idea to take this to council, and went on to say, Ann counseled you that the clerk had sole discretion in the matter. Do you have any dispute about that, or did that happen?
I believe that did happen between the city attorney and I. We attended some sort of election law webinar in her office around the time that Priorities USA came out, and that's kind of when we really started talking about kind of the election law and getting her opinion on, if I should take this to council or if it's my decision or what. She was also hearing from other municipal attorneys around the state.
But,
So that I do recall making that statement.
okay, that's what I wanted to be clear on. So did you, at some point, have a box placed to be used as an absentee ballot drop box?
Yes, I was working with those two DPW individuals, Mike and Kurt, to get that deployed on, I believe it was Thursday, September, that Thursday, that was the 19th, I think. Yeah, the 19th.
Okay. And when were absentee ballots, when was the first time that absentee ballots could actually be cast, either directly to you or to your absentee ballot drop box?
Yeah, that I believe was the same day that we sent out or we mailed out the absentee ballot. So we utilize a mail service that actually puts the postage on them. So I knew they would not be getting, the voters would not be getting their ballots, Friday or Saturday.
Mm-hmm.
So they would not be able to, very unlikely for them to be able to return their ballots right away.
All right. Well, the box then that was placed in front of City Hall, can you tell me again when that was?
That the box was placed in front of City Hall on the Thursday. I had conversations with those individuals as well as people in my office about the ideal location that we wanted to put this box. I felt that it would be more secure if it was bolted to the sidewalk instead of having it placed back on a concrete pad. Also, in the meantime, after the box was removed in April of 2024, the concrete pad that it was previously sitting on was removed. So it's just grass. And so we would have to have a different mechanism to secure that. Also during this process, after the Wisconsin Supreme Court overturned or I should say, after the Wisconsin Supreme Court banned the use of absentee ballot drop boxes, our intention was to turn this box into a multi-use box. So that way, at the time, people could return their payments, put other correspondence in this box. And so we had been working on that, and the plan was to get it rewrapped to be, to say like an official, I had intended to have it say official payment box until that September 19th, when additional conversations in our office, we changed it to official drop box.
The box that you had placed in front of City Hall on September 19th, 2024, could anybody put ballots in it at that time?
No. The box, it has like a silver metal rectangle on it that it actually pushes the door in, which provides for a very narrow slot that people can put their absentee ballots or other similar sized envelopes into to prevent people putting like a weapon or explosive device in it. It's intentionally to be small, but there is a metal plate that it actually fits into that slot, and then you lock it with a key, and that metal plate says kiosk closed in bright, it's black block letters on a white background. So it's very visible that it says kiosk closed. So it was visibly closed when it was deployed in front of City Hall and locked, where no one could put anything in it, as well as no one would be able to remove anything from the drop box bottom.
I see. Was the box bolted to the ground at that time?
It was not. And we had conversations, myself and those two DPW workers, Mike and Kurt, where I had been trying to get the box rewrapped for a couple of weeks, and that business, the timing wouldn't work out to coincide with getting the ballots out. And so one of my admins, Ashley Klein, she knew of a different company that would be able to wrap the box for us that day or within the day or two. So we had secured that on that morning, the September 19th, that Thursday, and it was he was going to be coming on that day to wrap the box. So in a conversation between the three of us, myself and Mike and Kurt, we had made the collective decision that it would be best, it'd be easier to wrap the box if it was not bolted to the ground at that moment, because it was up against the railing to come up the ramp. And so it would be really hard to get around the back side of that if it would give you a couple inches maybe. And also in that decision making, I was afraid that if the box would, or I should say that previously we had used a different, that metal payment box that I had referenced before across the sidewalk, and it's small, and that was only secured by a small concrete footing, which I could easily push over, or I probably couldn't pick it up by myself, but myself and someone else could probably pick it up. And so the three of us, made the decision that the absentee ballot box was sturdy enough, strong enough, heavier, similar to like a washing machine, that it would be fine. At the time, the information that we had, that we thought it would be okay to leave the box there until we could come back and secure it. Now, it just so happened with the timing that they were both off, I recall, on the Friday, and I had to leave early on Friday for a personal event. And so we agreed that on Monday we would secure, they would use the tools to secure the box at my direction, because the guy who was going to be rewrapping the box was going to be coming on Thursday, and it would be easier for him to do that. And then we would come back on Monday after we both had, or all three of us had different other obligations on Friday.
Was there anything in the box at the time it was placed there and previous to Monday? So
No.
your
The box.
plan was to have it secured on Monday and operational?
Yes, to follow the best practices, to have it secured from the inside of the box to the sidewalk after that wrapping was complete on Monday morning.
All right. And did there come a time when custody of that box was returned to you?
The mayor had sent me an email the following Sunday, so that would have been, was that around
The 29th?
the 29th? Yes, he emailed me that he had placed the box in the basement and that it was back under my control to do with what I wanted.
And at what point was the box unlocked and operational?
I directed DPW staff on Monday, that would be the 30th, right? The Monday, to secure the box as planned the 2 weeks prior, or yeah, the week and a half prior to that. And before it was open to the public, a DPW worker and one of my administrative assistants in the clerk's office verified that the box was empty, the locks were still secure and functioning before the box was opened for people to return their absentee ballots, and that it was secured to the ground.
And all this was pursuant to your plan to deploy an absentee ballot drop box for the November 2024 election, is that correct?
That is correct.
Got another exhibit for you.
This is Exhibit 8.
Thank you.
Ms. Bernardi, can you tell us what that document is?
This is my official statement as city clerk that I issued on September 25th, 2024, after the box was missing.
And what's the title of the document?
It says official statement.
Okay. And what's the subject? What's the official statement about?
Can I just read it aloud? Is
Sure.
that- Okay. So after consulting with numerous city officials and reviewing best practices, the city clerk started the process of providing an absentee ballot drop box located in front of City Hall. The box was not yet functional. It was locked and clearly labeled, kiosk closed. Since the drop box was closed and locked, no ballots could be accepted. The box was relabeled on Friday to properly label the box as an official drop box, to eventually be able to collect payments, ballots, and other important city requests. Once relabeled, it was the intention of the clerk's office to secure the drop box to the ground and then begin accepting absentee ballots. When city staff went to secure the drop box and open it for collection on Monday morning, it was reported that the drop box had been removed. Again, the drop box was locked and did not have any ballots, payments, or other documents inside. I reported an election irregularity to the Marathon County District Attorney and the Wisconsin Elections Commission under Wisconsin Statute 7.151G. Since this matter has been referred for investigation, the ballot drop box that was originally designated for use is not currently available. Existing video surveillance is not being released at this time to not compromise any potential investigations. At this time, eligible voters who wish to return their absentee ballot to the city clerk can securely return their own ballot in the silver payment box in front of City Hall.
Thank you. The statement doesn't reflect where the box was at the time you made the statement. Do you know where it was?
So this was September 25th, so this was the Wednesday. I had been told that the box was in the mayor's office. I had reviewed some security footage of the city hall and saw that the mayor had brought the drop box. The mayor and his wife had taken the box up to his office, but I was not certain of where the box was. I did not see it at all during that week.
Okay. You didn't see it in the mayor's office?
I did not.
Did Mayor Denny ever give you any kind of prior notice that he was going to remove the box?
No.
At, did Mayor Denny communicate with you during that period of September 22nd to September 29th about the box?
I believe I recall on that Wednesday, the 25th, he did send me an email asking why I disregarded his directive to not use the drop box. And then he sent me the email on Sunday saying that he returned the box to me. But outside of that, no.
And did you meet with Mayor Denny at all during that time period?
I did not. I don't recall seeing him at all.
Okay. I just want to be clear, when the mayor took possession of the drop box, he was not authorized to do so as your representative. Is that correct?
I did not direct the mayor to remove the drop box.
And he was not was he acting as your authorized representative during any of the days he maintained possession of the box?
No.
Objection foundation
Okay.
and calls for a legal conclusion. The mayor
Oh.
is her supervisor and her boss.
Well, there is a provision that would have allowed.
Mr. Chairman, I'm not going to argue with you. You're not a prosecutor.
When you took possession of the drop box, he was not authorized to do so as your representative, and he was not acting as your authorized representative during any of the days he maintained possession of the box in your office. One thing is
So just start here. Was he authorized as your representative?
yeah, well, I just want to make note of the fact that, I'll ask the witness. Are you aware of whether you can appoint authorized representatives? Do you have that authority?
I believe I can deputize individuals to take out certain actions, such as like deputizing staff to administer absentee ballots or things.
Had
But
you ever deputized Mayor Denny to take any action on your behalf?
I did not.
All right. Those, please.
Thank you.
Can you please identify what you're looking at?
This is a letter I sent the Marathon County District Attorney, Teresa Whetstone, reporting an ongoing election irregularity. This was dated Friday, September 27th, and I had sent this to her as well as the Wisconsin Elections Commission after I had asked the mayor for the drop box that morning and did not receive it by 12 p.m. I sent the letter to the mayor requesting the box back, and he did not return it.
All right, thank you. Then one more.
Exhibit 10.
guess I am going to have one more. Can you tell us what document you're looking at now, Exhibit 10?
This is the letter that I sent to Mayor Doug Denny on Friday, September 27th, asking for the Dropbox back that I had emailed him, as well as had my deputy clerk try to hand him in person.
And you did send this letter?
I did.
Do any of the other board members have questions?
Just have a few points of clarification. In previous years, with the ballot box as it was used, had there been discussions of concern when it came to security? Obviously, it was bolted to the ground on the corner. Was there any other discussion of concerns, and who aired those concerns? Like, did they, if there were any?
I don't recall any concerns that were raised that I was informed of prior to when I started when I became the city clerk, as well as for 2022 when I utilized the Dropbox. We did review the best practices that were provided by the Wisconsin Elections Commission, as well as other groups. And so we did have the security camera that was on it. It's in a well-lit area with lots of foot traffic. It was secured to the ground, but I don't recall any specific issues.
And then speaking to the security camera, with the location that you selected for the September placement of the ballot box, was that considered, and was that location selected due to any, or was that location selected with the idea of security when it came to cameras and observation?
It did. It was considered for security. That the fact that it was bolted to the sidewalk, it would be less. It would be more secure to the ground, obviously, as well as I did double check that the security cameras were still there and working as they were in 2022, and then that viewed them at night to see how the lighting was going to be displaying on it as well.
And just one last question. Prior to the removal of the ballot boxes by the courts or by the process, had you sought any counsel from the Common Council or from any elected officials about decisions that were made to implement the ballot box placement? Like in the 2022 era prior
No.
to? Okay.
No, I did not. I did not seek counsel from the former mayor or the council.
Thank you.
I just had a couple, just to clarify. So the box was in fact rewrapped either on that Thursday or Friday?
Both days. So on Thursday, the box was rewrapped in white. It's the same box that we used in 2022. It was blue with bright white letters, City of Wausau absentee ballot drop box. And ironically, I tried to make the box look less patriotic by having it in City of Wausau colors on the white background to be less controversial, since it's going to be a multi-use box. And so the business that we were able to have it wrapped, he was able to wrap it in that new white on Thursday, and I believe the City of Wausau logo was on there, but then he finished putting the other green lettering on Friday that says official Dropbox on the sides.
Okay, thank you. And is it your testimony that it was actually secured to the ground on that Monday, September 30th? Is that the date that it was?
Yes, it was secured to the ground, checked, and then opened for use on that Monday morning.
Okay, thank you. And then just one more question. Just kind of the concerns about the lighting. I don't know if you can describe, just, you said you you watched the video to see how the lighting would play out. Can you just describe that at all for us? If there was, how, if you can, how dark it was or how bright it was? I just am curious about that lighting situation.
I felt comfortable that, based on the guidance to deploy a Dropbox, that the image quality of the pictures was adequate in case we did have an incident, where you could clearly make out bodies, and you can clearly see like the Dropbox, you can see the U.S. Post box across the sidewalk. And I think there are like 5 lights on the section of the street that you could see the Dropbox, and different angles of the camera could catch anyone walking past or trying to tamper with it. After the October 8th, 2024 council meeting, there was at that point, there was lots of public interest, lots of public comment about the box, and there was an item on the council agenda to approve funds for like lighting and video camera. So since it had become such a hot topic and there was lots of interest in this box, I did ask DPW I sent an email to different DPW workers about procuring a temporary light to be focused on the box through the November election. And so, with that light, there is more light in the images that the cameras capture. But I still feel that before it was deployed on the 19th, that there was adequate lighting. In the light of everything that happened over the previous weeks, I thought it would be best, like, common sense to provide that additional lighting. And also that I should say too that the camera quality is better viewed on a computer than when you print them out. Like, it's just, they're designed to be viewed on a computer than on like printer papers, printer copy images on a paper.
Thank you. I don't have any other thing.
We talked about that WEC, Wisconsin Elections Commission, publication dated July 11th. Remember our discussion about that?
Yes.
Okay. And you remember that there are, well, first let me ask you, do you recall if there are any distinctions made between elected and unelected clerks in that publication?
No, there's no distinction.
And do you remember reading it? Do you remember reading in there anything about security requirements?
I believe there were some requirements in the decision, as well as best practices on the physical security of the box.
Okay. And you know what, well, so requirements and best practices. Best practices, like recommendations, is that your understanding of that?
Yes, since there is a lot of discretion for clerks in how we administer election law. A lot of times there are these best practices and how they work in your unique municipality, and then which is separate from requirements that are laid out in statute and administrative rules, such as when we have to mail, deadline to return things, who's eligible, what documents we need to receive. Like, there's a clear distinction, in my opinion.
Okay. Are you aware of anything in the statutes that sets requirements for absentee ballot drop boxes?
No.
Okay. No further questions. Attorney Erlinson?
Thank you, Chairman Dexter. I'm getting a red light, Cody, on my mic, and I've been told back here that at times people can't hear me, which is not a complaint I get very often.
Everybody doing all right?
Forgot to grab my computer cord. So, I'm on paper now.
Left it at home?
That's at the office.
Time do you think?
10, 15 minutes.
Much?
10, 15 minutes.
Mr. Chairman, I'm happy to conduct my examination from the podium here if it moves things along.
Okay, why don't we do that? Thanks for the suggestion.
Testing. All right, we're good. Ready to go?
Yeah.
I believe we are.
Okay.
Not sure
Although
what
the
code
clerk
you want.
stepped out to contact IT.
Okay, we'll wait for him if you like.
Okay. I think so. Is it? Anybody have trouble hearing Attorney Erlinson when he speaks into that microphone?
It's still quiet.
It's still quiet?
You have to be about like 5 inches from it for it to pick up your voice.
It's tested.
Oh, on this, there's no problem here. 15 inches. That's what I was waiting for, but if we deem him non-essential personnel, I'm happy to get started, but it should be the chairman's call.
Let's wait.
Yeah, why don't we do that? We'll take a 5-minute recess, a break. Cue Cody right now. for you.
Yep. Yeah, there's a little symbol there. Yep. All right. Thank you so much. Should I just leave it at the desk? Okay.
She doesn't want to see what's coming on council.
All right, recess is over. We will proceed with Mr. Erlinson's questioning of the witness. Oh. Doug is back. I almost missed it. That monitor kind of.
Good afternoon, Ms. Bernardi.
Good afternoon.
Who by Wausau City Ordinance appoints you to your position?
I'm not sure if it's in our city ordinances.
Who under state statutes is responsible for decisions about termination of your position, of you from your position?
I'm not aware.
You don't know what the mayor's statutory duties and responsibilities are, correct?
Correct.
Ms. Bernardi, there are exhibits 11 and 12 that have been placed in front of you.
Yes.
Do you have them?
Yes, I do.
Okay. If you look at Exhibit 11, it's comprised of pages that have Bates labels that are Bernardi subpoena response 248 through 253. Can you tell me what that exhibit is comprised of, please?
I see 253 as part of Exhibit 12, but that's just like a misstapling. But these are stills from the security footage that is on the, I believe they're all from the one camera that, it's one, it's one, what is it called? One, like, fixture that has 4 different angles of the camera inside of it.
Like
that
a
point.
fisheye?
This is not the fisheye, no. The fisheye is the one located out front, the north-facing doors of City Hall.
Okay, so the first page of Exhibit 11, Bates labeled Bernardi subpoena response 248, that is the west camera view at 9:30 p.m. on September 18th, 2024, correct?
Correct.
The second page of Exhibit 11 is the northwest camera view from September 18th, 2024 at 9:30 p.m., correct?
Correct.
And then on that second page, there is what I understand is the old payment box, the metal payment box, and then the mailbox next to it. The payment box is circled in green, and the mailbox is circled in yellow. Is that right?
That is correct.
All right. The third page of Exhibit 11, Bates labeled Bernardi response 250. This is the northeast camera view from September 18th, 2024 at 9:30 p.m. And this time, those 2 boxes with the same circles and the same colors are now more central to the shot. Is that correct?
That is correct.
All right. And then Bernardi response 251, which is the 4th page of Exhibit 11. That is the east camera view, again from September 18, 2024 at 9:30 p.m. Is that right?
Yes.
And then finally, Bernardi response 252, Exhibit E is the northeast camera view from October 1, 2024 at 7:24, correct?
Correct.
All right, and this one actually shows the box as deployed and secured as of October 1st, 2024, correct?
Correct.
Now, sometime during this period of time, the cameras or the lighting around these areas changed, correct?
No.
Okay,
Not until after the October 8th council meeting.
okay, yeah, let's, that's what I'm getting to. And you can remove, is 253 a part of Exhibit 12?
For mine it is. I don't know about
Okay,
anyone
yeah,
else's.
well, that's the official copy. You can go ahead and remove that because that's another October 1
What I marked.
photograph.
Exhibit 12 then. It's just-
I just want to be sure we removed the right thing.
You can put 253 with Exhibit 11, Mr. Larson, because those are all pre-October 8 images. That's how I had my copy stapled. It was a mistake that I,
So the document that says Bernardi subpoena response 254,
that should be 12.
that's page 1 of Exhibit 12.
Correct.
Okay.
All right. Ms. Bernardi, do you have Exhibit 12?
Yes.
So after the October 8th Common Council meeting, there was some sort of upgrade or change in the cameras or lighting outside City Hall?
Yes, I directed or asked IT to replace that fisheye camera in front of City Hall as the recommendation of the IT director and his staff to make a different type of camera to give a better picture because the fisheye kind of distorted how the images were. And then I had also requested from DPW to install that temporary light directly affixed onto the drop box.
And so the October 11 photos that comprise Exhibit 12, those are captured featuring the modified lighting and cameras.
Correct.
You would agree with me that the images, regardless of whether they're viewed on screen or on paper, the images in Exhibit 12 are considerably clearer and better than the images in Exhibit 11.
I should also add that DPW.
You can just answer my question first before elaborating.
Yes, other than Exhibit 258 is still dark. I believe it was raining that evening.
Well, it's going to rain.
It's true.
All right.
The camera was also washed.
So, Ms. Bernardi, if an election gets really screwed up, or there's a citizen uprising about problems with an election, to whom are you accountable?
Well, I am the election administration official for the city of Wausau, so the buck stops with me.
To whom are you accountable?
To the people of the city of Wausau.
They can't vote you out of office.
They could demand through their alders and the mayor that I be removed from office.
And who makes that decision?
I'm not actually sure.
Would it surprise you that it's the mayor?
It wouldn't surprise me.
As a matter of Wausau City ordinance and state statute, it's his job to appoint you and, if necessary, to terminate you. Does that surprise you?
Does that surprise you? You haven't cited any authority. It might help.
Well,
you.
Mr. Dexter, let's go ahead and cite some authority.
It might help you might help the witness if you did, yeah.
This is multiple copies.
Thank you.
Ms. Bernardi, you've been handed what's been marked as Exhibit 13 for identification purposes. Do you recognize it as a screen grab of the Wausau Municipal Code of Ordinances in its online published form?
Yes.
Specifically, it is Ordinance Section 2.08.010, titled Appointment. Could you read it, please?
Under officer, lists clerk, and then by whom appointed, it says mayor, and then term, it says indefinite.
Thank you. If you could take a look at Exhibit 14, please.
Okay?
Do you recognize that
It's a Wisconsin.
as a excerpt of Wisconsin statute section, or chapter 17, including Wisconsin statute section 17.12, removal and suspension of city officers? Do you see that?
I see that, yes.
Okay. Have you ever read this before?
I have not.
Okay. So, officers of cities operating under the general law or special charter, including school officers, may be removed as possible.
I'm sorry, where are you reading? Is it?
17.12 sub 1.
Okay, thanks.
The municipal clerk is an officer, correct?
As defined, I guess, by our ordinance, yes.
And then sub 1 sub C, as it concerns removal, is entitled appointed officers. An appointed officer may be removed in any of the following manners. Sub 1 sub A, by the appointing officer or body at pleasure. Did I read that correctly?
Yes.
So at no time during your tenure did you realize that you serve as City of Wausau municipal clerk at the pleasure of the mayor?
It never came up.
If you could, please, look at Exhibit 5, if you have it.
I don't believe I have that. Thank you. Okay.
Do you recognize this as an excerpt of Wisconsin Statute, Chapter 62, specifically Section 62.09?
Yes.
Are you familiar with this chapter in your capacity as municipal clerk?
No.
I'd invite your attention to sub 8 of Section 62.09. It reads, Mayor, sub A, the mayor shall be the chief executive officer. The mayor shall take care that city ordinances and state laws are observed and enforced, and that all city officers and employees discharge their duties. Did I read that correctly?
Yes.
Did you understand at any point in this course of events during the week of from September 19th through September 30th that the mayor was duty-bound and responsible to see that you discharged your duties as municipal clerk in accordance with Wausau ordinances and state law?
There are certain statutes and that Priorities USA decision that put certain decisions under the direction of the clerk, similar to like the police chief mentioned this morning.
Right. And your decisions and your responsibility for your decisions and your accountability are ultimately to the mayor as the chief executive. Did you ever understand that?
I operate on a day-to-day basis, reporting directly to my direct supervisor, who is a subordinate of the mayor.
Did you, at any point in this course of events, understand that you were accountable to the mayor for the decisions you made?
Yes.
All right. So, we had some ambiguity in the timeline that I hope to clear up from this morning.
Okay.
Mr. Larson, if you could hand the witness Exhibit 3.
Thank you.
Thank you. All right. Exhibit 3 is a photo of the old red, white, and blue election box, right?
It is.
Now, it's the same box as the box that's out front. It's just been rewrapped. It's not a new box.
That is correct.
All right. So you start in January of 2022?
November of 2021.
Okay, but then your first election is February 2022, correct?
Correct.
And you put the boxes out there, you utilize the box, you were continuing a practice that was in place when you were hired.
Correct.
Okay. So then the Teagan decision comes out July 8th of 2022, correct?
Correct.
And they declared drop boxes, the decision essentially declared absentee ballot drop boxes illegal before the August 22 partisan primary.
Yes.
Now, when Teagan comes out, are the absentee ballots already out, or how did you deal with that?
So August of 2022. I don't recall how we communicated that to the voters, but I do know that we closed that drop box immediately after that decision.
Okay. All right. All right, so Teagan comes out, you can't use the boxes, you have DPW lock it, correct?
I locked it.
Oh, you locked it, okay, great. And then it stays locked, it has the kiosk closed sign,
Correct.
and did you make that sign, or did you have DPW do it?
It came, I believe, with the box.
Okay, how convenient.
Right.
Okay, so it's kiosk closed and it's just sitting there while Teagan is in place.
Correct.
And at some point, some kind of black shroud gets put over it.
Yes. At some point, we had covered it up, so that way it wouldn't be, the public would not think that they could utilize that to return their absentee ballot, as we were working to, A, get it rewrapped, and then B, get that lock replaced that had corroded.
Okay. All right. And then Mayor Denny gets elected in April 2024, and sometime not long thereafter, he asked that it be taken inside.
he demanded in my office that it be removed from out front of City Hall.
Okay. And it was still has the shroud on it?
I believe it was, but I'm not 100% sure if it was covered at that point.
All right. All right, so then Priorities USA comes out on or around July 5th, 2024. Absentee ballots for the August 13th partisan primary are already out at the time.
Correct.
So you talked to the mayor. Your absentee ballot deliveries had not anticipated the Wisconsin Supreme Court's ruling in Priorities USA.
Correct. We knew it was in the court, but we didn't have a ruling yet.
All right. And then trying to get instructions out and figure out an absentee drop box protocol. You agreed with the mayor, not worth it, too much rigmarole, and you didn't deploy the box for that primary.
Correct.
All right. And you recall that as late July, early August.
Yeah. Yes.
And you described the conversation as professional.
That first initial conversation, yes.
All right. And then there was one other meeting the Friday before the August primary that you remembered. The finance director was there. That's the only other conversation you recall, right,
That's
with
the
the
only
mayor?
other formal conversation in the mayor's office with my direct supervisor, the finance director, where we were talking about the use of the Dropbox as well. And then I recall the finance directors making the comment that that was the first mayor she had worked under that had tried to interfere with the election administration. And I recall we had, the mayor regularly pops into my office throughout the week or daily, and so we had different conversations about the Dropbox, but that was the only other formal conversation.
And the finance director has no involvement in administration of elections.
She's my supervisor as an employee and how I supervise my staff, and I regularly get her input based on her expertise in the city, but she does not.
About elections?
About different decisions that I make, such as poll workers or things.
So you talk to the finance director, you don't talk to the mayor about that kind of stuff. Is that right?
I sometimes talk to my direct supervisor to gain her input.
Okay. All right. Okay.
Thank you.
Ms. Bernardi, you've been handed what's been marked as Exhibit 15 for identification purposes. Do you recognize it?
Yes.
All right. So what is it?
The first page is an email that I sent to the mayor asking him to include two different items in the fall 2024 city newsletter, since his office coordinates that. And then the second page is the actual flyer that I requested be put into the newsletter.
So I'm sorry, the first page of the exhibit is the email to the mayor asking him to put Exhibit 2 into the newsletter?
Me asking the mayor, yes.
Okay, so Exhibit 2 is what you wanted to see go into the newsletter.
The second page, yes.
Okay.
Second page of Exhibit 15.
Correct.
15, yes, thank you, Mr. Larson. All right, and this is a big November 5th presidential election day announcement, right?
Reminder, yes.
Okay. And you've got information about September 19th. That's when you're going to start mailing absentee ballots.
Yep,
Correct?
correct.
And then you have in-person absentee voting in the lower right-hand corner, is that right?
Correct.
And then you have absentee ballot voting by mail, correct?
Correct.
And there's no mention of drop boxes.
Correct.
And this was you not wanting to get caught in the situation where you weren't sure if you were going to have it out in time.
Correct.
Okay. But did I understand your testimony correctly that as of September 6th, you had decided you were going to deploy the drop box?
I recall it being around there.
But you were under deadline, and so you went with the second page of Exhibit 15 for the fall newsletter. Is that right?
Correct.
All right, by the 19th of September, the Thursday in 2024, now you'd done some work getting the box ready to be deployed. Did you clean the box?
I had put it on my calendar to go out and clean the box, like scrub it down before it was deployed. I recall that when I got there, DPW had already done that.
Okay. And you knew you had to have a conversation with the mayor before the box was put out front?
Yes?
And you went up to the mayor's office, you had about a 15-minute conversation with him on a Zoom call that he had muted, correct?
I believe it was probably less than 15 minutes.
You just said, here's what I'm doing.
I informed him of my decision to deploy the Dropbox.
Okay. And did you talk about any details about security, cameras, lighting, live feeds, any during that conversation?
I don't recall if the live feed conversation was during that meeting or our previous meeting that we had in July.
Okay.
But
How about-
otherwise, I don't remember discussing other security.
And then you go back downstairs, and there it is. The box is out in front of City Hall.
Correct.
All right. And it's blue. Red, white, and blue.
It was either the blue or it was still wrapped in the black. I don't recall.
Well, it had been cleaned?
Yeah,
then-
yeah, it would have been cleaned. Yeah, so it was
Then put
probably
that old black shroud back on it. didn't
yeah.
they? Okay. So the
So
red,
it was,
white, and
it was
blue-
probably red, white, and blue.
Okay, all right, so it's back out front. And then you looked out the window a little while later and you saw the mayor, the city attorney, and the IT director all out front looking at the box,
Correct.
right? And you ran out there,
Correct.
but you didn't participate in any of the discussion.
I didn't recall I don't recall what the discussion was or anything substantive.
All right, so you don't have the graphics ready, you're still working on them.
Finalizing them, yes.
And then you've got the outfit that you're gonna have wrap the box that you'd been working with for a couple of weeks. You find out they're not gonna be able to do it.
Correct.
So then you talk to, is it Ashley?
Yes.
Okay, she's your admin. She's got a friend who does it. So then you contact that outfit to come over and wrap the box, right?
That is correct.
All right. And so on September 19th, the blue box just sitting there all day, and then the admin's friend, I think we have his name. Remember him? What his name was?
I believe it was Kyle.
Kyle Osmitz, right?
He has
Okay.
his own company, yes.
So then Kyle comes over, and did you have discussion with him about wrapping it outside in front of City Hall?
I don't recall a discussion. That was the plan.
Is there any plan of just doing it at DPW inside and in a controlled environment to just get it wrapped in there?
Since the box had already been brought outside and based on the previous conversations that it held, I was concerned at the time that the box would not come back out if it was brought inside the City Hall.
Okay, all right. You were concerned that if it went back into DPW, it would never come back. So
For
you
the
had all the
November
work done
election.
out in front?
Correct.
Okay. Okay. All right, so you're working with IT with the graphics, and then the label on the box changed. Was it the 19th or the 20th?
Is your question about like how the box appears or the language on the box?
The language and labeling on the box.
The language on the box, because like I stated, my initial intent was to have it labeled as official payment box because of the Supreme Court going back and forth on we can use drop boxes for absentee voting or we can't. The decision was to have it as official payment box to be able to collect bills and other correspondence in case the Wisconsin Supreme Court would overturn that use again in the future. And then in talking in our office, it was suggested to have it as official Dropbox. So we updated the graphic, worked with IT to get it in the correct format, and sent that over to the wrapping company. And so the wrapping, it became white on the Thursday. The city logo either changed and was placed on either Thursday or Friday, and then as well as that green lettering that says official Dropbox was
So
on Friday.
All right, the wrapping continued then with the labels and stickers and stuff. That was on the 20th?
I believe it was all done on Friday the 19th.
All right, and you spoke to DPW about what else needed to be done to secure the box to the ground and to open it for ballots, right?
Yes, we had discussed that on Thursday.
And you didn't speak with any other department about that?
No,
And you left early on Friday at noon?
correct.
And then the guys from DPW, did they leave early? Or, sorry, in deference to Mr. Gao, their shifts end, and they worked full shifts, but what time did they leave on Friday? Or were they off on Friday?
I recall that those two, not Leo, but the other two, Mike and Kurt, were off on Friday.
Okay, so there's no way this thing's gonna get bolted down,
That was not the plan. That it would be bolted down on Friday.
but your plan was to just leave it out front, unbolted, in whatever form it was after the graphics got applied.
Correct, because we felt it was as secure as the box across the sidewalk.
All right. And then after it was wrapped on Friday the 20th, you don't recall anything else happening with the box on Friday?
I don't recall.
All right. All right.
Exhibit 16 and Exhibit 17.
Thank you.
Ms. Bernardi, you've been handed what's been marked as Exhibit 16 for identification purposes. What is it?
It is a, I was trying to figure out what this was a part of, but it's a picture of the Dropbox.
As of what date?
It says on, I'm not sure what day this was taken of. It appears to be included as public, or part of the WEC complaint against me around, I'm not sure what the date of the box is.
Well, can you tell the board, is this the wrapping as it existed on September 20th, 2024?
The Saturday, yes.
And then you'd mentioned you originally wanted the stickers to say official payment box, and then you shifted gears at the suggestion of Marianne Grote to make it official Dropbox. Is that right?
In our office, yes.
And that was sometime on the afternoon of the 19th?
I believe it was the morning, but yes.
But then you had to tell the graphics guy, and they had to redo the graphics and then incorporate it into the wrap and get the new art to the wrap place.
Yes.
After you hired the new wrap place because the old wrap place wasn't available.
The timing would not work out to
Yeah.
use it.
All right. I'm going to hand you what's been marked as Exhibit 17. Do you recognize Exhibit 17?
Yes.
What is this?
So the first two pages are the front and back of the small instructions that we include with the absentee ballot, in addition to the statewide uniform absentee ballot instructions. And then the third page is again a copy of the flyer that I requested to be put in the city newsletter.
Right, okay. And then, and we've already seen that. The third page of Exhibit 17 is the same as the earlier exhibit we looked at, correct?
Yes,
Okay, so let's look at the first 2 pages of Exhibit 17. Am I correct that this is what went out in the envelopes on September 19th, 2024, with the absentee ballots?
correct.
All right. And that said, return your ballot at City Hall during these times or in the payment box.
I should point out in the payment box was not highlighted on the actual insert.
Right, it's just said in the payment box.
Correct.
All right. So if we go back to Exhibit 11.
Okay.
All right. So if we look at the third page of Exhibit 11, it's Bernardi subpoena response 000250.
Correct.
And this is on September 18th. That green circled thing, that is the payment box, right?
Yes.
And how long had the payment box been out there?
I'm not sure when it was put out there, but I believe at least a decade.
Okay. And then when was it removed?
I don't recall exactly what date it was removed, but I believe it was the same time that the DPW installed the white official drop box.
Okay, well, all right. If you go to Exhibit 12, that's the other set of pictures.
There's a orange cone there in place of where the payment box
Okay,
was.
Exhibit 12, if you go to the page that's Bates labeled Bernardi subpoena response 000258, it's a photo image from 9/21/24.
Yes.
you have it?
Yes,
And that's the payment box,
correct.
okay? And then nearer in the foreground, across the sidewalk, that's the box the box we're here about, as it existed as of the Saturday night at 9:30.
Correct.
Okay.
Which was closed, and the silver payment box
Correct,
was
right.
open.
Okay, so then if you turn to the second to last page of Exhibit 12, it's Bernardi subpoena response 259. That's a picture from 11/5/2024. And now the little metal payment box thing is gone.
Correct.
Okay, when was it actually removed, do you know?
I'm not 100% sure, but I recall that it was the same time that that white box was secured to the ground on September 30th. So it was there over that weekend when the drop box was still locked and closed. And then that week, that whole week that I instructed voters to return their ballot in that silver box, it was there until the Monday, the 30th, I believe it was the 30th, that Monday, that when they secured the white drop box to the ground, that payment box was removed.
Okay. And in all the discussion I've heard so far from you, Mr. Gao, I didn't hear any discussion of removing the payment box on the 23rd.
That was the Monday. We did not remove that payment box.
I didn't hear any plans to remove the payment box.
Sorry,
Am I missing something?
the plan was to remove the payment box, that I had talked about that with those other 2 DPW workers who work under Leo.
It's just the first I've heard of it today.
Okay?
All right. Before you left at noon on Friday, September 20th,
Yeah.
did you go back and check in with the mayor and say, look, here's what's been done, here's the game plan for
No.
Monday? No?
No, I do not do that as practice.
Well, you'd never had this Dropbox out in an election before. Did you have a practice?
I did have 2 elections with a Dropbox out, and I did not inform the mayor of my use or my plans for the use of it.
Okay, so it's sitting out in front, it's not bolted down, it's locked, it says official Dropbox, it says payment on it, there's a payment box across the or the sidewalk. Did you check in with him and just say, here's the situation and here's what's going to happen Monday?
No,
Okay. You just left and went to a wedding in Madison for the weekend, correct?
correct.
And there's nothing wrong with that. Madison weddings are great.
I agree.
All right, so the box did, though, continue to say payment at the top of the little slot, and that continued on until much closer to the election, like October 23rd, right?
Correct.
In fact, there was nothing on that box that mentioned ballots until October 23rd. Is that right?
I would have to be refreshed to the specific date, but it was later in October, correct?
Now, prior to September of 2024, you interacted regularly with the mayor on day-to-day matters of city business, correct?
He would occasionally pop into our office and ask about questions. I interact with him most for getting like signatures on council documents and contracts.
Okay.
But we do not have regular phone calls or meetings or emails.
And you didn't do any formal press release or social media posts about the deployment of a multi-use box, correct?
Correct.
The communication to the public was the little flyer insert that went out with the absentee ballots for the November 24 election.
Correct, which is part of the reason why that payment sticker stayed on there for so long so that way it would match that instruction that went out with the absentee ballots in August, or September, I guess it would have been.
Exhibit 18.
Thank you.
Ms. Bernardi, you've been handed what's been marked as Exhibit 18.
Correct.
Do you recognize it?
Yes.
Okay. So this is the litigation update memo. Is there some other document that you refer to as the guidance?
There was this guidance from the Wisconsin Elections Commission, and then I believe it was included in the attorney's legal opinion. If I may,
Attorney
the,
Jacobson's?
yes, in Exhibit 7, there was a section from the election management guidelines from the Election Assistance Commission of the United States. That was the other guidance I was referring to.
Okay, so the Election Assistance Commission, that's a national outfit?
I believe so.
Okay, that's attachment A to Exhibit 7. So that's some national stuff, guidelines and
Correct.
best practices and whatnot. And then, but the July 11 memo, and if you look at Exhibit 18,
Oh, yeah.
can you tell me, is that just an electronic version? Or, excuse me, a more formalized memo form version of the litigation update that is a part of Exhibit 7? Or don't you know?
Part of it looks identical to the Exhibit 7. It has the Wisconsin Elections Commission header.
Yeah, I don't know. If you go to 8, for example,
I'm sorry, go where?
you might be right. It looks like it's a different formatting, but in any event,
Maybe it's like a scanned copy, so it looks a little different.
well, in any event, let's go to page 3 of Exhibit 18.
Okay.
All right. Point 8 of the litigation update asks the question, do drop boxes need to be secure? What should clerks consider when examining drop box security? Okay. The answer to the question is yes. The decision, referring to Priorities USA, held that state law permits clerks to lawfully utilize secure drop boxes in an exercise of their statutorily conferred discretion. The decision did not provide guidance on what it means for a drop box to be secure. Did I read that correctly?
Yes.
Okay. And the commission made recommendations, and they were the non-exhaustive security considerations to keep in mind when planning to utilize drop boxes, which are consistent with guidance from the U.S. Election Assistance Commission and the U.S. Cybersecurity and Infrastructure Security Agency, CISA. Did I read that correctly?
Yes, I believe
And
it's
these
6.
considerations are merely a starting point. The commission recommends that clerks thoroughly complete a security assessment for each intended Dropbox location prior to deployment. Did I read that correctly?
Yes.
All right. So the best practices, and these are what the commission described as a starting point. Physical security of the Dropbox itself. The Dropbox be securely affixed to the ground or the side of the building or secured such that the Dropbox cannot be removed or tampered with. Did I read that correctly?
Yes, which is why I plan to secure it to the ground.
Right. But you left it not in a secured state over the weekend while you were at the wedding in Madison, correct?
While it was locked and cannot be used as a Dropbox.
And it wasn't secured to the ground, was it?
It was not over that weekend, correct?
Right. Okay. And then the second to last bullet point under best practices, which are the starting point. The Dropbox be clearly marked or labeled that the Dropbox is for the purpose of collecting absentee ballots in return envelopes. Did I read that correctly?
Yes.
The word ballot did not even appear on this box until October 23rd, 2024, correct?
Correct. And this was a best practice.
The starting point, according to the Wisconsin Elections Commission.
Under the section of best practices.
Well, I don't want to argue with you. But what the memo says is these considerations are merely a starting point. The commission recommends that clerks thoroughly complete a security assessment for each intended Dropbox location prior to deployment.
Which I
So-
did.
Yeah. Okay, so you learned that the box had been moved on Monday, September 23rd.
Correct.
Your admin informed you.
That is correct.
Now, what time did you get to work on Monday morning, September 23rd?
I don't recall. I had to take my child to the walk-in that morning, so I did not arrive here right at 8.
Okay, so it was a little later.
Right.
All right. And you saw the mayor on the security footage, so you knew he had it or had moved it.
Later on Monday, I did watch the security footage.
All right. And then you called the city attorney, and she was out for the day.
I attempted to, yes.
And then you got the email from Liao Gao, which I'll invite your attention to Exhibit 14, or excuse me, Exhibit 2. Can you confirm that that's the email you got?
I don't know if I have a copy of that.
It's hearing Exhibit 2. Maybe Mr. Larson has it.
Thank you. Correct, I did receive that.
All right. And
I'm not
it's
sure the order, but yeah.
and it's at 10:07 a.m. Right?
Yep.
And had you reviewed the security footage by now?
No, I
All
don't
right.
believe so.
But you knew the box had been moved.
Right.
All right. And Liao Gao sends Mr. Lindman, you know who Mr. Lindman is?
I do.
He's a pretty big guy. And the copies are to Mayor Denny, to you, and to the police chief, Matt Barnes.
Correct.
Now, did Ms. Grote tell you that Chief Barnes had already been down to her office that day?
No, my admin had told me that Barnes was down there that day and had made a joke about where the Dropbox was.
Okay, and then when you got the email from Mr. Gao, Exhibit 2, you were upset by it?
Correct.
Okay. And then you spoke to Mr. Lindman at DPW.
I recall going into Marianne's office and informing her of this email since she was not included on it, and then together we called Eric Lindman.
And he said the box is in the mayor's office.
At that time, he thought that the Dropbox was in the mayor's office.
And you didn't talk to the mayor.
I did not.
And you don't know why. You were just upset.
I was upset that the box was removed after I had directed it being placed, and the plan was to secure it that morning.
And as you sit here today, you think communicating with everybody ahead of time would have changed the outcome of this situation?
Communication for everyone would have changed the outcome. Yes. But I don't know if I would do it differently. If I
You
did-
don't?
Like the communication ahead of time, communicating that with the mayor ahead of time. Like to your questioning before about informing the mayor of my plan to secure it on Monday.
How about on the morning of Monday? If everybody had talked that day, do you think it would have changed the outcome?
Of getting the box back sooner,
Yeah.
or
Yes.
perhaps?
Okay. And you acknowledge the mayor moved the box inside on September 22, was not secured to the ground.
Correct.
And as a practical matter, whether it was September 20th, 21st, or 22nd, there's no way anybody could have returned a ballot to that box anyway because it was locked.
Correct, it was locked.
All right. So you were upset on Monday, and all of that week, you stayed upset.
Yes.
And you're still upset.
Yes.
Okay. And before you left on Friday, you didn't discuss with the mayor the plans for completing the work to deploy the box on Monday, September 23rd.
Correct.
And you'd agree that one aspect of security for a ballot drop box is that it can't just be moved with a hand truck or picked up and moved. That's one element of security.
Should be secured is the guidance.
All right. And as of September 22nd, you had not discussed with the mayor your plans to secure the box to the ground.
Correct.
And you didn't discuss that with him on Monday, September 23rd.
Correct.
You didn't discuss it with him on Tuesday, September 24th.
Correct.
You didn't discuss it with him on Wednesday, September 25th.
Correct.
You didn't discuss it with him on Thursday, September 26th.
Correct.
And in fact, on the September 27 letter that you sent to Mr. Denny, you didn't describe for him your plans to secure it out in front of the city hall either, did you?
I believe I mentioned that I was, oh, I look at the letter, I'm looking at Exhibit 10. In the second sentence, as was my intent on Monday of this week, I intend to have the Dropbox secured to the pavement outside of City Hall and to then open the Dropbox for use by City of Wausau voters in time for the start of the weekend.
Oh, sorry.
The second
The wrong
sentence
exhibit.
of Exhibit
Mr.
10.
Bernardi? Okay. All right. So when did you send this letter?
I sent it in the morning of September 27th.
What time?
I don't recall.
And you demanded, or, well, essentially demanded that it be back in, you said it be returned to the lobby of City Hall by noon, correct?
Correct. It was a neutral location.
Well, it's not returning it to the lobby. He didn't take it and move it from the lobby. You
No,
understand that?
through the lobby, but yes.
Yeah. All right. So, did you check the mayor's calendar that day?
At some point I did, yeah.
before sending the letter?
Yes.
Okay. Did you satisfy yourself that a noon deadline was reasonable?
Yes.
But you didn't go upstairs to discuss it?
I did not.
And when Mr. Lindman told you that the box was in the mayor's office, you didn't do anything to confirm it?
I believe I looked at the security footage after that phone call at some point to know that I saw the mayor had taken the box into his office over the weekend, but I did not like hunt out for where that box would be.
So you didn't just call the mayor and confirm?
I did not.
Okay. And you never took any steps to retrieve the box during the week of September 23rd?
No, as of after I reported it to the DA on Wednesday, there was a chance of an investigation into that election irregularity. So I didn't know if we would even be able to use the Dropbox.
Okay, you thought it would be evidence?
Potentially.
And you don't recall who told her that the box could be evidence?
I don't recall.
No. Now, throughout that week, you responded to some 30 reporters about the box situation.
I believe I responded to about 8 reporters, but then I'd also sent out the press release to our media list, which was roughly about like 30 different outlets for the city.
So, total of 40 to 50 media communications that week.
Correct.
Not a single one with the mayor.
Correct. Because there was an ongoing
Yeah.
public interest as well as the integrity of the election itself.
Was there an ongoing just solve the problem interest?
Yes,
What'd you do to solve the problem?
I tried to mitigate the public spectacle of it as well as continuing to administer the 2024 November presidential election.
By issuing public statements and circulating to the press, that was your...
To get the
you're gonna
message
contain
out
it?
on how to direct voters on how they could still return their absentee ballot lawfully.
But never talk to the mayor.
I did not talk to the mayor.
And you never talked to the city attorney about the three of you sitting down to discuss the situation during the week of September 23rd.
I don't recall that.
Yeah. Ms. Bernardi, we had a chance to talk about these matters on Monday.
Correct.
This is impeachment, so I'm not remarking. It's not an exhibit. Ms. Bernardi, you've been handed a transcript of your deposition from Monday,
Okay.
and I would invite you to turn to page 79.
Okay.
Starting at line 23. Question, did you ever discuss having such a meeting with Attorney Jacobson? Well, let me go back. Line 18 on page 79. Question, did you ever discuss with Attorney Jacobson sitting down with the mayor and the folks, anybody else to discuss the situation? Answer, there was never a meeting of myself, the city attorney, and the mayor to discuss the Dropbox. Question, I'm aware of that. Did you ever discuss having such a meeting with Attorney Jacobson? Answer, did I ever discuss having a meeting with the three of us? Question, yeah. Answer, is that your question? No. It's not that you don't recall. You never discussed having a meeting with the three of you with Attorney Jacobson, correct?
Correct. I don't remember discussing it. I believe that the thought came into my head about possibly, having a meeting, but I don't remember discussing it with the attorney.
Yeah, you did. You thought about going upstairs. You thought you could go, but you never did.
Correct.
And there wasn't a single email to the mayor until the May 27 letter.
September 27th, yeah.
Or excuse me, September 27, thank you. Now, how did you find out the mayor's calendar on Friday, September 27th?
He had a budget meeting with Mary Ann Grote, and I can see her calendar.
You didn't have access to the mayor's calendar.
I don't.
You don't know what else was going on.
Correct.
You just knew about a meeting with the finance director.
Correct.
And you weren't aware of what else he had going on that day.
Correct.
But you thought the noon deadline was reasonable.
Yes. Since he had the box all week.
Now, the mayor did email you on September 25th, correct?
Correct.
And you didn't respond to it.
Correct.
But you did release a statement to 40 to 50 members of the press that day.
Correct.
And then on Friday, September 27th, you wrote to the Common Council, didn't you?
Correct.
And do you recall writing to the Common Council alleging that the mayor was engaged in ongoing keeping and concealing of the Dropbox?
I emailed the Common Council a copy. I recall I emailed the council a copy of my the ongoing election regularity that I reported to the DA, and I believe that that was addressed to the council and the mayor at that time, and the email in the same distribution group.
Who all knew that the box was sitting in the mayor's office by the time you said to the Common Council on Friday, September 27, that the mayor was concealing the box in his office?
I don't know. I didn't know for sure
'Cause
where
you'd
the
never
box
bothered to
was
follow up.
all week. I did not.
And Mr. Lindman knew, Chief Barnes knew, your direct report, Mary Ann Grote, knew. You'd all been told, and you'd done nothing to confirm it or retrieve it, correct?
Correct, because it was
How
locked
was the
inside
mayor
the mayor's
concealing it?
office. He was locking it in his office. That is his personal space, and when he's not in there, it's locked to the public. He did not have an admin at the time, I recall, and so it was regularly locked and
And
dark.
you'd made no effort to retrieve it to that point,
I did not go into his office to retrieve the box.
or ask somebody else to go get it.
After myself and Mary Ann Grote's conversation on Monday about the box, and I had asked about, because part of the reason why that email from Leo, that Exhibit 2 upset me, was that I had made that election decision, and it was up to the Public Works Director if I was going to get the box back or not, which upset me, which is why I went into my supervisor's office. And then we had asked about the status of the box, if he knew where it was, and then asked to put it out, and he felt that the mayor should have an opinion on that decision, and that if he had a legal opinion from the city attorney, then he would give directives to put the box back out. And that was the last time I specifically asked for the drop box that I recall.
And who was that communication with?
That was in that phone call that I had with Mary Ann Grote and Eric Lindman.
This is Exhibit 19.
Thank you.
Ms. Bernardi, you've been handed what's been marked as Exhibit 19 for identification purposes. What is it?
It is the email that the mayor sent me on Sunday, September 29th, informing me that he placed the box back in the basement and that it was under my control, and then requesting that an item be put on the Common Council agenda.
He reached out to you,
Correct.
and in his email, he first expresses his respect for you. and that he wants to meet in person to talk. Correct?
I'm sorry, I'm reading.
It's the paragraph that
Yes.
says first.
Correct. The second paragraph.
Next, he says, ballot boxes in the maintenance bay and in your charge.
Correct.
And then he asks you to put that on the ballot or on the agenda to be discussed with the Common Council and asked you to draft a resolution, correct?
Correct.
And he expresses his recollection and thought that as of August, he thought you had an agreement on what would accompany this ballot box's placement. Correct?
Correct.
And then he tells you that on the 23rd at 7:08 a.m., he had informed the facilities manager where the box had been moved and that it had been moved indoors for safekeeping. Correct?
That's what's written, yes.
Then he indicates that the box is in your charge.
Correct.
And as to the resolution he asked you to write, he gave you an example from Brookfield.
Correct.
And then he included some bullet points about security provisions that he would like to see brought to the council for their consideration.
That's what's written, yes.
And then the attachment is a resolution from the city of Brookfield, a memorandum staff report from the city of Brookfield, and the like. Correct?
Correct.
You didn't email the mayor back,
Correct.
but you did take some relief from it because it was a step toward a solution.
It was a step toward redeploying the Dropbox, correct.
Exhibit 20.
Thank you.
Ms. Bernardi, you've been handed what's been marked as Exhibit 20.
Correct.
Do you recognize it?
Yes.
What is it?
It's an email string that starts with the initial email on September 23rd from Leo to Eric. After we figure out what's going on in the Dropbox, I'll be waiting on orders from you on this. And then Leo emails Eric and CC's the mayor and myself saying on Monday, September 30th at 7:04, saying, "Good morning, Eric. Doug called me yesterday, informed me that he would like me to put the box out front of City Hall and secure it to the concrete. I still need your okay to move forward with this. Please let me know when we can proceed with this." And then the mayor responded at 7:08 saying, "Leo, I said that Caitlin would give direction. The box is in her charge." And then Leo replied, "I'm sorry, I'll be waiting for directions from Eric and Caitlin." And then Eric Lindman replied at 7:22 a.m. saying, "Caitlin, if you tell Brian where you want the box, he can arrange to have it installed. Brian, work with Kurt and Mike to get this installed at the location Caitlin would like and have it secured."
And just like that, before 8 a.m., there was a plan to solve the problem, correct?
To reinstall it as the week before.
And then later that morning, you met with the mayor to discuss the Common Council resolution.
I recall meeting with the mayor and Marianne in her office where we talked about the Dropbox. I don't recall if the resolution was talked about in that specific meeting.
Exhibit 21.
Thank you.
Ms. Bernardi, you've been handed what's been marked as Exhibit 21 for identification purposes. Is this the resolution you provided?
It's a copy of my email on October 3rd, and then the attached, the resolution that I drafted, and then my proposed memo as requested.
And this was based on a model Mayor Denny had received from another municipality.
Correct. I just put it in the traditional form and affirmative nature that we use in the city of Wausau.
And the resolution does what as it concerns the Dropbox?
The title of it is Resolution Regarding City's Use of Absentee Drop Boxes for November 2024 Election.
Right. And does it approve or does it disapprove of the use of a absentee ballot drop box?
It's written that now therefore be it resolved by the Common Council of the City of Wausau that it hereby approves the city clerk's decision to utilize an absentee ballot drop box for the November 2024 election.
Do you recall anything that the mayor said to you about why he thought this was a good idea? Or had you just stopped listening to him because you were upset?
No, I did speak with the city attorney throughout July, August.
I'm going to stop you there because it's non-responsive. Did you ever talk to the mayor about why he thought this was a good idea?
I believe he did mention comments similar to his September 29th email in Exhibit 19 about, I think that was in there, yeah, about the Brookfield resolution. But I don't recall specific conversations. But I felt uncomfortable writing the resolution
Why?
because I did not believe at the time that I needed the city council to authorize the use of a drop box since the decision left that to the municipal clerk.
And the resolution
decision-
approves the decision, right?
It does, but the drop box was already deployed at that time.
Okay.
And with the legal advice that I had at the
And
time.
this upset you? You didn't want to write this resolution.
I felt uncomfortable writing the resolution based on my opinion of the law.
And you've never stopped being upset with the mayor
About the removal of the drop box? No.
about this entire issue. You're still upset.
About the removal of the drop box? Yes.
Nothing further. Thank you.
Do I give all these back to you?
Any members of the board have any other questions for this witness?
I may actually, if that's
Okay.
if that's okay. I just wanted to clarify. So in one part of the discussion, you had mentioned the other box across the street, which I think is the payment box, if I'm not mistaken,
Right. The other box across the sidewalk.
across the sidewalk. And in that case, how is that other box secured to to its location?
The silver payment box was mounted on like a concrete, like footing set on the ground.
Okay.
I'm just trying to put them back in order.
That's it.
That's it. No one else? Then, thank you, Ms. Bernardi. You are excused from testifying, and you will return the exhibits that you have to Mr. Larson here.
Board has not had a chance to see some. Our copies. Distribute them.
Yeah, the sooner we can do
Okay,
that.
I believe they're back in exhibit order.
Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you.
I think we should probably make copies of all these exhibits
Right,
and distribute them to the members of the board.
right.
And while that's taking place, I assume Cody can take care of that for us. Is there any objection to having say, a 10-minute recess?
Yeah.
Is that going to be enough for
I
you,
was
Cody?
suggesting that. So
All right.
definitely not.
Seeing no objection, we will
Right.
take that break right now. Thank you.
This is my favorite. This is good. I can't wait.
Some of these they already have. I know which ones. Okay. I just looked at making 7. Why don't you make one of these things?
We had an office in Shelby. You're in their estimation, it wasn't very I grew up here. I've got a picture when I stand in the four-step porch and the snow is all over the net. So I know what it's like. This is something I've done to show it. I used to jump off the bed. We had our house across the alley. I used to drive with the front door. I used to climb up in there and walk in the basement. The best part thing is this drive. You implement it. If you have no implement spots, which you can get you I can research that anywhere.
Oh, yeah, yeah, yeah. Well, actually, I know where one is, but that's all I need.
There's another one down beyond.
I was really optimistic.
Yeah.
Even though you're sitting in the bar, you can
Thanks.
see there's hardly any tables. And if you're at Apple by, Having the boxes out there during COVID. So the fact that Caitlin has a box made her, well, let's look together. Caitlin was a box. Now you're going to repeat that they were upset. And they're still going to vote other people. They don't care.
Oh, yeah. 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 Well, I mean, we should think about it. Because it's one thing. I would hope that we could get
We can see it just.
I don't know if we're so we might
With the complaint, when none of the complainants are here. Really long board meetings, pushers back and forth. Everyone else out there. There's another, up of 6th Street, which is kind of the north side of the
It's on our list. I mean, we could. We're just talking about that. Part of it centers on.
Yeah, he's being mean to me. Yeah.
We'll see what the board wants. My preference would be to figure out. It's not a tumor. The good news is
Don't.
We'll talk about that when we get back on. But it'll be up to you guys what you want to do. I don't know. The options are to put it you know, decide how late we're going to go and
I seem to, every time I have big headaches, like work weeks, I seem to always have a cold. And like when you start coughing uncontrollably and you like it all day, you know, beeping in court. And then the last, I was involved in a jury trial as part of a TPR action. And the bailiff got COVID. And so half of the jury pool and all of us attorneys, every one of us got COVID. By the end, it was a 4-day jury trial. And we were all just, horrible. It was just so bad. And the social worker, we all had COVID. Wow. That was a fun one. We made it through. It was like we all made it through closing arguments. We all made it through that, and we all just essentially because I think your adrenaline is obviously going so much. You can work through that illness, but then we all spent the entire weekend extremely sick and all that. And it's the bailiff that brought it. I don't think I had COVID, but.
yeah. I mean, honestly, that's not true. You directed me to where the grab and go food was. So.